I really am enjoying what I do, and I have passion for the education space, and that's why I formed the community, the Nadia CPA Inner Circle.
Um, yeah, and with Intuit, I mean, would you say they're maybe one of like the top three largest corporations in the tax industry? Um, so like you were in there, you had all the resources and
Mhm.
you really learned a lot, and not just learned a lot, but you taught a lot. So,
I did, yes. And what I really enjoyed about it too is that we did a lot of feedback sessions with the tax pros. So with tax professionals, we would invite them in. We do a software enhancement for the tax professional software, and then we'd have them, go through it and see if what they were thinking is how we were aligning with our requisites when it came to programming the software. What it really helps is that you, as a tax professional, know what the end result needs to look like so they can just train you on how to write the code behind the scenes. And yeah, so there was unlimited resources for us. But of course, with the corporation, or I think with any other big companies, you do have to go through a hierarchy of if you have an idea, it has to go through a lot of channels of approval. And I think when we are working for ourselves, that's a lot easier where you can approve your own ideas quickly, act on them quickly, and pivot quickly. And so that's what really I learned that traction between the difference of being in a corporate world with, yes, amazing benefits, the corporate benefits of the health insurance and retirement plans, to now being on my own and navigating this. And that's what I built the community for, to share that knowledge of this is how we're working in the industry and this is what's working, especially now with AI. How are we leveraging AI, especially at Intuit? We had resources too. As soon as AI came out, we were already playing around with AI. And so when I left, we definitely leveraged AI to assess the whole tax bill of 800 pages, and just kind of extract the most important things and divide it into individual tax versus tax that's really provisions related to business owners. And so that's where we really leverage technology, and that's what I bring into the community too. We do sessions related over technology. We just did a session on how to build a prompt in AI, because yes, you can leverage AI, but really if we use it efficiently, right? If not, if you go in and ask it, tell me what's the tax rate for individuals. But if you really write a prompt, it will give you the most out of the AI features that we have.
are there any questions or comments for Nadia? We have one over here. They're saying, oh, do you do this in Spanish as well?
I do currently, I have a whole session on the One Big Beautiful Bill in Spanish, and I do have it in the inner circle. It's part of the general access. So, yes, you can have, if you join today, you have access to it for free. And it's a course. So you can actually keep track of, you listen to the first 10 minutes, leave, and come back, and it picks up right where you left off. That is in Spanish. Master classes are not in Spanish yet, but they are coming in 2026. The 10-week program, we're rolling it out in Spanish, so 10 weeks too. But yes, we will provide sessions eventually in Spanish too. Right now, you only see English sessions in the community, except for that One Big Beautiful Bill hour session that's in Spanish.
Yeah. Hi, Anna. Yeah, you're in Nadia's group too. Um, any other questions or comments for Nadia here? And then whatever you send me, Nadia, I'll share with everybody after when I send the recording out. Mhm. Um,
Yeah.
so we're gonna be talking about appointments. Do you have anything that you have seen in your experience, Nada, on appointments? So like the reason why we're talking about this is um in Conecta we have an appointment scheduling system.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening was some people wanted to have 2 hour appointments, 3, 4 hour appointments for one client. So
Mhm.
just what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, definitely. As with the tax law changes and everything, our time is so limited. We're trying to learn this new tax law. We're trying to figure out, how to deal with the next tax season coming up. Appointments, if you really need an appointment system, a calendar system, because having those constant interruptions of phone calls of, can I ask you a quick question? We need to help our clients in the training of click here to appoint, to have an appointment with me. But I think another learning that I've had, Alberto, was also with potential clients. Are we charging a deposit for potential
Mhm.
clients? Because I've had it where I have clients schedule an appointment, a discovery call, and they don't show up,
Yep.
and it's like I just was here waiting, and our time is valuable. We have to recognize that. We don't have time to be wasting like that. So having a calendar where it has your availability times. Another thing that I've been discovering as I'm doing this journey of, being a not full-time entrepreneur is really scheduling my days of maybe only Tuesdays and Thursdays I take new appointment calls, or only Wednesdays I take current clients calls, because if not, it's a constant interruption of I could be meeting with new clients versus prior advisory clients in the same day, and it throws my whole day off. So definitely having a calendar system, an appointment system, that would make your time a lot more efficient and really spend your time where you really need to and your expertise.
Um, all right. Well, awesome, Nadia. So, thanks for sharing. And you're welcome to stay if you have time, if you don't have any appointments coming up.
Mhm.
Um, and so for the rest of the call, again, I like to have these calls as more open to everybody, right? We just want to share discussions and find best practices for tax season. And we're talking about appointments. And maybe you could kick it off, Ernie. So,
Yeah,
a
I'd like
little bit
to.
about
Yep.
yourself, how many offices, and how you deal with
All right,
appointments.
my name is Ernie Sintron. I've been in the tax industry over 20 years. I currently have 5 offices. Um, we're looking to have anywhere between 12 to 16 employees this coming tax season. Hopefully, we can hire some more with expertise. And then we're also trying to support Conecta with virtual individuals to help with taxes and accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and different services. So, when it comes to appointments, in my opinion, you have to value not only your time, also the time of the client. So, I believe the first meeting should be probably 1 hour appointment where you sit down with the client, collect all of the documentation, kind of get it's just kind of a discovery meeting. So the person comes in, you let them know what you need, they drop off the bank statement for the accounting, they drop off all the tax document that they have received, if it's a business or if it's an individual. And then from there you take a deposit. You take a deposit, then you are good to go. Then you put your staff to work. I mean, I have personnel that do the accounting, review some of the documents, do the data entry, and then from there you set up another appointment to finalize the discussion and get signatures, and that could be another hour appointment. So sitting with the client for 4 hours and see them work, or for them to see you work on their taxes, I think it's overkill. I think the clients will appreciate if you work on the background and you let them know, hey, I spend a lot of time working on your, because doing a bookkeeping for a client could take more than 4 hours. So, so I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, some people may be a little bit concerned that if they let the client go, the client may not come back. But one of the concerns or one of the things that you do is basically, if you're taking a deposit, you're taking all of the documentation where they can go. I mean, it's going to be very hard for the client to leave. That's in my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. What is the experience in the past with some of those clients? So then to identify, what we can do and what's the reason why you spend 2, 3 hours with the clients. Yeah, I'll open
Right.
it up again,
Yeah, if
Albert.
anybody wants to share, you can unmute yourself or just put it in the chat. But we want to know, how do you deal with appointments? if a client wants to sit with you for 2 hours, do you do the 2 hours? If do you always do just 30 minutes? Do you charge before? I know a lot of different people do it different ways. Um, Alexis, I see you're on here. Can you share a little bit, Alexis, on kind of how you deal with appointments? If he's not,
Can you hear me there?
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Um, Hello everyone.
Oh, actually, wait. Sorry to interrupt, Alexis, but before you get into the appointments, just again a little bit of who you are and like, how many tax returns you do, and how long you've been in the business for.
well, I'm Alexis Romero from Bronx, New York, the area of Fordham Heights. I've been with the company for 18 years. I do about 2,500 returns, and what can I say? I mean, I love what I do.
Perfect. So, how do you deal with appointments?
Well, we use the text-to-lend format, which is pretty good. Pretty much through the text-to-lend, they have links that you can send your clients where they can click and pretty much select the hours that are available depending on the date, the times throughout. We try to set up like 3 to 4 appointments per hour, since we have a good number of people working with us. And usually, about an hour. Some cases, some situations, or cases can take longer than others. But in reality, about an hour. Sometimes you don't last an hour. It could be 15, 20 minutes. But at least we don't want to be overwhelmed to overbook, especially for difficult cases. For those cases that can last 3, 4 hours or days, usually if we know they're going to last for longer time periods, at least that first initial appointment, we try to gather all the information so we can start working on it and have somebody eventually follow up either by phone, or then when the work is done, try to do another appointment so they can come down so we can finalize their taxes. Usually, if it's personal taxes, we try to set up, about an hour, just in case, per taxpayer. If it's a business taxes, we usually try to do 2 hours. Um, uh, and usually when they set up an appointment, besides the fact that they have to choose the date, the time, also the type of taxes that they're going to prepare, either business or personal. And right there, the through the text-to-lend app, it would mark it down on a calendar where we can actually see. Now, if they also call the office, we can also set up the appointments manually as well. So both ways has work. Usually either they can scan a QR code, or we send them a link, or we could do it manually. But doing the appointments does work. So you are not being overwhelmed and have so many people at one time. And you got to plan for it. I mean, try to have a staff. For
Alexis, there's a question comment here for you. Do you have a checklist for the clients of their documents to bring to their appointment?
We do. Which obviously I can share or send it to you, Beto, and you can send it to everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And but of things to bring down, I know that Alberto has been working with a new intake form for businesses, of to jot down all the expenses and company information so you can do the taxes. But it's again, don't stress yourself out. Setting up appointments do work. They definitely do work. And text-to-lend has been a good platform for me. So we don't have 10 people in my office, waiting in line. At least by the next hour that let's say an hour pass, at least if the next appointment comes in, the wait is not long.
And Nadia, about that document checklist. So when I first started Conecta, it was an accident. Talking about texting, that's kind of how it started. I needed a text and I built something. And then little by little, we just kept adding to Conecta. And one of the things that we just added, and Anna, you're here, and thank you a lot for this, is we created a intake form and a client document checklist. If you're a Conecta user, it's in here, or you could just purchase this separately for $27. And this is the document checklist here. So it has almost every single document that you'll need depending on their situation. So what sort of income documents is that client bringing in? The W-2s, 1099s, different schedules, for like health insurance type of stuff, itemized deductions. So almost every single type of document, because there's just so many, but I'm pretty sure there's some missing. But this is a 6-page document here that has more documents inside of what you might need from those clients. So if you're not entirely sure of what sort of document somebody needs, or even what there are out there, it's in the Conecta system. And then Anna was so nice to also share this with us. This is an intake form. So anytime somebody goes into your office, you could either send them this PDF, put it on a tablet, and have everybody check in. And what we did with the Conecta system is we took Anna's PDF and we turned it into a form so that clients could check in your office. They fill this out. You have their info, you have their spouse's info, you have how many types of income they came in, and a whole bunch of other info. And when they fill it out, it'll go into your Conecta CRM. That way you have all their information and you can start their tax return.
Oh, this is excellent. Yeah, this is I can see this saving a lot of time, right? Where clients depend on us on tell me what I need, because they'll probably bring you mail from everywhere that doesn't even have to do anything with taxes. This is helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their job to know. They don't know. That's why they're going to you, right? You're the professionals. You're the person that knows, and that's why they're paying that service for you. And that's why you could charge more, because you have tools and things like this that just makes it a no-brainer for them to keep going with you. Anna, so can you kind of just share a little bit about, because I know this is just one of those documents that you have. You have a lot more.
Good morning, everybody. Ana Mendez here from the beautiful Southern California. We don't have that cold weather from you guys, but I love my area. And yes, I had when I start it like Alberto, it all started with a personal hardship through the IRS. So I knew how it feels. So then when I start through a colleague of mine, I was doing real estate. And then he was telling me all the time, you can do taxes, you can do taxes. And I was like, no, that's too much. I can barely handle a lot of legalities with the real estate. So I didn't want to do anything with taxes. So now I'm so deep into this. So it's so much to learn. But I start when I do something, and this is my belief. When I do something, I want to do it with everything. I'm going 100%. My belief is that it's if you're gonna go up, you're gonna go up 100. If you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down really hard, and you're gonna hit the rock, and you're gonna hit yourself really hard. That you have to learn. So when I start this pathway, I start looking into the IRS website. So I took a lot of classes through the IRS website, and then I've seen all this information available for us for free. So within all those classes, then I was hearing so much about you need to do intakes. You need to do intake. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
What do I need it for? Why do I have to have it? And but it wasn't just one officer from the IRS. It was all of them, every single class. Why? Because when it comes an audit, can you prove to me that this person came to you? How can you prove it? Did you do this tax because just out of the blue you decide, oh, I want to make money, I'm going to get this person's check? No, you need to have proof. So having all these forms from different people, I made my own. So I've been changing year by year, adding information, taking off information. So I'm working on every single year, making it up to date form. So I have, if I could show you my screen, you will have no idea. I have tons, and I have a file that it says all forms because I have forms for bookkeeping, accounting, for payroll, for forms that, oh, I need this form because the client needs to sign, but the wife can come in. Okay,
Mhm.
how do I know it's true? Do I need some kind of document saying, hey, she can't sign. Well, I need that. I need that in writing because I never know. And even though we provide documents, sometimes we fall into that path that we might be subject for audits too as a tax preparer. So and I try to learn a lot from this guy. Um, it's an amazing person, and I'm sorry I'm gonna have to mention it, Alberto,
Yeah,
because
go
he's
first. No,
he's
no
my
problem.
mentor, he's my teacher, and he's the only Hispanic that is being admitted to the Supreme Tax Court. His name is Ruben Valdez, EA USTCP, and he's my teacher, and I learned so much. And what he teaches us at his academy too is that we need to be transparent with what we do. We need to be upfront with the client. So when my client comes in here, if I said, you're going to pay this much, they don't argue, they don't question because I was upfront with them. Okay, this is what I need from you. Oh, please, Anna, I want you to do Wonderland here and make me pay less. It's like, no. My mentor, my teacher taught me, you're going to pay the IRS what is right. Not a penny more, not a penny less.
Mm.
It is based on your information. So once they complete that information, I go based on that. And then even though I'm completing the tax, I tell them I'm gonna come across questions that they're not on my paperwork, but they're here. And the IRS needs to know. So I ask them and I question again, even though they put yes or no on my intakes, I question again. Why? Because I want to make I if I see their expression like I don't remember if I said yes to that question or no. So sometimes we can come across like even though we're not the auditor, we still could see their expression. We could get them right there that they're lying. Because sometimes
Mhm.
they will say, oh, well, my kid lives with me. Okay, what's the name of the school?
Mm.
Right there, right then, you'll get them because they're lying to you. Or like you could, if you get them off
Um,
guard, it's easy when you tell them, can you tell me the cross streets where the school is located at? By the time I
um,
ask them, I already searched on the web and I have the address on my screen. So that
actually,
if
and
they,
Anna,
yes,
sorry to cut you off, but that's a great point there.
yeah,
Porque if something happens and the IRS, for whatever reason audits you, and
I
I
have
don't know the
document.
answer, so this is for all of you here, but who are they going to, you know, uh, have responsible for that? Are they going to go for the taxpayer or for the tax preparer? Uh,
Well, we have to keep in mind that these documents we asked them and they completed it. But we also have, if you can see on this on your screen, on the bottom you have notes. Those notes could be either for the client or for us. And I believe on one of the documents I have tax preparers notes. There's one of them that it has the notes that were, as a tax preparer, I should put my notes in it. So I believe that on the past it was like, oh, my preparer X did it, but we have to go back to the paperwork. The 1040 at the bottom, it's you're signing under perjury that it's true. It's your tax.
Mhm.
So it's not just the tax preparer, but it's the taxpayer responsibility at the end. That's what I
In
could see.
my Yeah, in my experience representing clients during audit, the auditor, the IRS has a lot of sympathy towards the taxpayer. And especially if this return has been prepared by a professional and it's
Mhm.
signed by a professional, they will go after the professional as well. So not only will the taxpayer might be liable for some penalties, but they go harder on the professional because they didn't ask the right questions. Because they didn't ask the question of, I see, a bunch of your expenses that end in a bunch of zeros, 1,000, 2,000, and you didn't ask a question, and they go after the preparer.
So in your situation, Nadia, having something like these intake forms and these document checklists where you have written proof that the
Mhm.
client, this is the information that the client gave me, and then we combine that with automation and technology where everything is timestamped, and these timestamps are like hash, nobody could edit them. Is that
Mhm.
enough protection for these tax preparers?
Oh, that is, especially because I will tell you, taxpayers, they forget very easily and they like to point fingers, and they'll point the finger at somebody else as long as they can save themselves. And that's going to be us who they're pointing the finger at. So the more documentation, like Anna is saying exactly, write your questions, write their answer, and have it time stamped. And that definitely, yes, the IRS might come after you, but you have the proof that you asked the question and you did your due diligence.
Yeah, and then going back to these forms. So we have that client document checklist, the intake, and then we have it available in Español también. So, and this is just one of the items that we have here. Because while building Conecta and talking to, all the users and everybody, there's a lot, you don't know what you don't know, right? And I've been grateful enough to have the opportunity to speak to thousands and thousands of tax preparers. And like we have a item here where if you're missing documents, right? Somebody goes to your office and then they say, "Oh, I forgot this form." Like last year was the mortgage interest form. Everybody was getting them late. So they leave your office and then they don't come back, right? They don't come back. You did that tax return for them. You already did all the work. You just need one form. And once they leave your office, right, there's a chance they won't come back. So we have text messages and emails and scripts and phone calls here so that you could get them to come back in an automated way. Ernie in the beginning was talking a little bit about um, tax returns and how we could do them for you. Because también talking to so many people like, oh, I get clients coming into my office and they want me to do a C corp, but I don't know how to do it, and they send them away. Like, so you're sending away a client, you're sending away $1,000 client, and you're sending it to your competitor, and all those referrals that come with it. So we created this también for Conecta users is if somebody comes in and you're not sure about how to do their tax return, tell the client, hey, no problem. Leave your documents here. We'll have one of our team members take a look at it. We'll reach out to you in a few days and you keep the client. You upload it through your Conecta account, and then it goes to Ernie and his team. They do the tax return. He's been doing this for 20 years, and they send it back to the tax preparer. The tax preparer calls the client, hey, yeah, your tax return is ready. Come in the office, let's sign, let's go over it. And then everybody wins. It's a 50-50 split with Ernie and his team. The tax preparer keeps the other 50%. And not just that, but the tax preparer, you keep that client. You get those referrals. And we're never gonna talk to the client. I don't know if you want to add anything, Ernie, to this.
No, that's basically it. We want to make sure you continue to grow your practice. Sometimes when the clients leave with an S corporation, for example, there's a potential that the other company will do the personal as well. because there's a K1 that comes with it. So it's easier sometimes for a client to do everything at one location. So we want to make sure you guys, have that earning. And also, like Nadia said, she has programs that, this by having some experience of the process, then you can take maybe a course with Nadia and then develop that skill set. And eventually you can be doing those taxes because the client obviously doesn't know anybody else but you. You're the one, you're the person to go to. So, and we're just helping you on the back.
Yeah, because Nadia, you've spoken at Latino Tax Fest for many years. So like there's a lot of people on this call, like Wilson, también known him for many years. I've known a lot of people here for many years. And it's so frustrating when I hear that story where we're sending people to H&R Block or we're sending people to this like CPA firm that's charging thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and we're losing out on that. So we need to keep the money in our community in our ecosystem. And that's why we created this with Ernie. That's why I created this tax season starter pack that has like workflows and marketing campaigns and those checklists because not everybody has thousands of dollars to buy a new CRM software, but I still want to give you those tools. And you could get them for $27. And that hopefully that helps you make enough money with that. And then, with Ernie's back end services that you buy my software later, right? That's the plan. But in the meantime, we still want to give you the tools and knowledge and resources to keep that economy in our ecosystem and not let it go anywhere else.
And it's also helping that taxpayer lift though, because there's such a scarcity of tax professionals. There's not that many people entering the profession. And so the client's really going to be left out with, well, who can help me? If you can't help me, is really my only option, like a H&R
Yeah.
or a more expensive option. So that keeps it in house. And I think as a tax preparer, you start learning, right? You start getting familiar because you're going to have to explain that return to the client. So you start learning a little bit more about corporate returns with the help of somebody like Ernie.
No, yeah, and that's a good point. Do you think those H&R Block employees are going to treat, Jose that just got out of his construction job and, he's all dirty, are they going to treat him the same as you're going to treat him? So that's a good point, Nadia. So, es nuestra gente, la raza, and, we have empathy for them because, well, like for me, it's my parents, my family, and probably the same for a lot of people watching.
Plus, they can communicate with us in the language, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, when you're able to explain everything from A to Z, what's in the software, what's in the taxes, and they live with that sense of comfort that you went through everything. They know they're not gonna get in trouble, and it's a level of satisfaction. That's why I do what I do. It's just seeing those happy faces when they leave, that they understand everything, and they're ready to come back and send you people. I mean, I manage sometimes 4 or 5 generations that like the grandparents are now to the kids. They're saying, no, I'm paying for your taxes, but you're going to earn it for them. Your first tax return should be done correctly. Don't do it online. That gets you in trouble, especially those students that are eager to, when the parents are ready to do their taxes and they have filed their own taxes and they have claimed their exemption but not the 1098T education credit. So we got to fix all of that. And now there's a waiting period for, some of the things they can avoid by coming to one person. And those are the things that I educate people on. Yeah.
And we were talking about appointments and different systems. So again, one of the reasons that I built Conecta is I've been helping tax preparers build their websites and systems for over 10 years. It was always you have to get a Calendly account and pay them and then integrate it to your texting account and then you have to pay them and then you have your website and you have to pay them, and then you have this other CRM, like you have more than 5 users and you have to pay them even more. And then after a while, you have 6, 7, 8 different softwares all connected. You're paying each one, and luego they all have different rules with users. It's just a big mess. And then one of them doesn't update, and then everything breaks. Entonces, um, that's where also Conecta comes in, because every single tool that you need is in here. So this is a calendar system. It'll replace your Calendly. It'll replace whatever you're using for appointments, and it's all included in here. You could have unlimited users. It creates you a link that you could put on your website, so people could book directly on it with whatever services you have. And we were also talking about maybe you want to charge before appointments, so you're able to do that too, with the help of using Wilson's payment processor. And you're busy, it's tax season, somebody calls in and they want to know, hey, can I come in today? Who's available? And you and all your employees would just need one place to log in. Yeah, Anna, you have something you want to share?
Yes, I just have a question. Right into the screen that you were sharing, with the calendar, I
Sí.
see that you have the tabs for different calendars, Conecta, Google, and Outlook. Based on that, are we going to be able to connect more than one calendar from more than one platform, or is it just going to be a pick and select one of them?
That's something I'm still thinking about.
Oh, okay.
Porque not just because of like the technical reasons behind it, but just for the simplicity that the people using it. And I've been talking with people like Ernie that have multiple offices, like how then like he's not here, but Enrique Medina también, like he manages 14 offices.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know how they keep it organized. And what this is kind of leaning towards is the booking system, whatever you're using, will be one calendar. Pero if you have a Google Calendar and if you have an Outlook calendar and maybe you have a calendar on your iPhone, is you have one that clients could book, but all of those different calendars, you could share them on the back end. So everybody could connect to, like, this is my Google Calendar. Everybody could connect. I could connect to this one, and then on the actual Google side, then you could share that with your Outlook calendar, and then you could share that with your iPhone calendar. So that'll make it one way for appointments to get in, but then they go everywhere else. And that's a good question también, Ana. So we'll probably do something like this in a few days or next week on how to actually set that up.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, we got around 10 minutes left. Is there anything else that anybody wants to share here, about appointments or whatever system they're using, or kind of how they take care of their clients during the intake process?
What people jump in, I just want to summarize a little bit. I think, for money, it's good to maybe, and Alexis may agree with this, is, do an initial consultation, 1 hour, collect all the documentation, charge a deposit, and then call the client later to set up another appointment. I think that's a good way. I mean, that's not for everybody, but you want to try to allow as many clients as you can see on a daily basis, and then work on the background to try to maximize your income potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah. Going back to the appointments, the way I work on the appointments, initial appointments, is that I try to be ready for that client because I ask them when they call, what is it about? If it's a tax for individual or business tax. So then I have my paperwork and then I try to work within half an hour and I try to wrap up within 15 minutes So that way, where I have 15 minutes extra to complete my hour to either use the restroom, get some get some time to get up my desk because we're sitting all day long in tax season. So I try to do it within the hour. Maybe that will help too for more than one, but half an hour concentrated on the client and what I need, 15 minutes to wrap up, and 15 minutes for me for those extra notes. Because I put it on my calendar, what is it about? But then I come back again and I put my notes. Because then, like Alberto, you were mentioning before, we tend to forget. So that way I keep track of like what is it that I talk to them about it. And if I give them prices, I write it down based on this and that. So that way I won't forget if I gave a price to them.
Pricing, that's a huge one. I know, Ernie, we've been talking about pricing a lot. Can you maybe just give
Yeah,
everybody?
no, we do have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have to come up with pricing because every area has a different pricing system. I mean, it's very difficult to price your clients, but we can come up with some type of general pricing for some of the new people that are starting, so they know what's low, what's high, where they're about right. So I'm happy to work with maybe Anna if you're on board, and maybe somebody else to try to come up with Alexis, if you're good for it, we can definitely talk about pricing and make sure we're right on the money because it's year after year we come back with the same pricing because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. But the reality is that cost for us continues to increase. You're paying more on payroll. You're definitely paying more on different things, softwares, services, utilities. And if we don't adapt to pricing, eventually, our margins of profits are reduced dramatically. So, it's not an ideal answer. I don't know that I have the answer, but I know that if we all come together, we can come up with some type of a pricing structure that we can all benefit from.
Yeah, and pricing's important, especially if you're new, because whatever your first price is, that's your starting point. And if you're
That's
too
it.
low, it's gonna be a lot harder to raise your prices later. So
Exactly.
whatever your first price is, that's like where your starting point.
And a lot of people tend to do the tendency of, you know what, I'm gonna check out a corporation like H&R Block or somebody else, and then I'm gonna do 50% of what they charge to try to retain the client. But you're not worth 50% less than an H&R Block. I mean, I worked in H&R Block for 10 years. I was a district manager. I managed 16 offices. And a lot of the individuals that work there, a lot are new. I mean, you may have a structure of an office that have maybe 4 or 5 long-term professionals, but the rest are filled with new task professionals. And you imagine they're sitting with a new task professional, they're charging $400 or $500, and then you have 20 years in the business and you're charging $300. I mean, does that make sense? Not necessarily. So, we got to come up with that ideal pricing and to provide you guys with some guidance.
Yeah, that'll probably be our next week's topic. Well, no, thank you everybody for joining. We're doing these every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll just set it on the calendar. If you could join, great. If you can't, we'll send the recording out after. And yeah, again, thanks for taking time out of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Nadia.